name is Apostle Florence Dr. Kanyati. I'm with my husband here, and today we are excited. We are going to be talking to you about communication in marriage.
It is important to realize that whenever there are issues in marriage, whether there are issues or no issues, communication is very important.
Very, very important.
But maybe let me say here that when we are communicating, what are we communicating about? Do we understand the issue at hand? What is the issue to be discussed or communicated? And when we are communicating, we need to understand that communication is not one way.
Yeah,
it's both ways.
It's a dialogue.
I say something while you are listening,
I'm listening,
and you say something while I'm listening.
Yes.
And when that happens, it shows that there is communication.
There's communication.
Yes.
Wow. Indeed. We are going to explore some issues on how we can communicate well. It's an area that many couples struggle with, communication. Is it not amazing that in life you can have excellent pilots, outstanding doctors, wonderful lawyers, even communicators at work, but when it comes in a marriage relationship, you find that people struggle with the issue of communication. So we are going to give you some tips on how you can best communicate in order to build a strong marriage, establish a great home, and enjoy your marriage. Because if communication is not taken care of well, you may have challenges in marriage. Most relationships that break, it can be dated back to issues to do sometimes with communication.
And when we are communicating, I think it's important also to be attentive and speak skillfully. Because when I am not, when one is, there's a tendency of saying when we are talking about something, while you are saying something, I'm already building up my answer, so that such that I'm not even listening. But what I'm doing is I'm already preparing a response.
Wow.
So it becomes a problem. Indeed. Because it shows that I have not really understood. And it's a challenge also to say when we are talking about something, before one finishes, I already have concluded what the other person is trying to say. Yet it's not the case. It's not what they want to say. I should have listened and then show that I'm hearing what my partner is saying.
So if I heard you well, we are saying in communication there's a listening aspect, there's being attentive, one must be attentive, and also ability to interpret what my partner is saying, to dissect information. And another thing that I interpreted is you brought in issue of patience. Like you were saying, while one is still speaking, another is already building an answer.
Yes.
So one must be patient enough to, while the spouse is still speaking, maybe to be patient, to let them finish, to dissect, to try and understand. Also the one who is speaking must be skillful enough to say what they mean and mean what they say.
Exactly.
Because sometimes when someone is irritated, say about issues to do with sex, they can start talking about money, or they can start talking about an uncleaned house. So communication can be very critical. Let's talk about tact and skill in communication.
Yes. Now, when we are communicating, tact and skill, it's like, maybe let me start by saying, you need to understand your spouse's communication skill, style. Yeah. What is that style of communication? Now, in any environment or in any relationship, you are talking of two who are from different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different cultures, who are brought together. And as such, it means the way I perceive things and the way you see things could be different.
Very different sometimes.
So it means whenever we are talking or communicating, I need to know exactly what to say and how to say it.
How to say it.
And when to say it.
When to say it.
Yeah, that's very important.
I want to pick up from where you left on how to say it. Maybe I can give 4 recommendations on how to say it. We always teach couples to say there's what is called sandwich talk. Say there's something I want to say to you that is irritating me. Instead of just bashing you with negativity, I can start by saying, it's good you came home. But then I finish, I say, but I don't like it when you come late. But thank God you are here. Or I can say, I feel low. So I can bring a positive, and negative in between. That's a how part. We also recommend the best way to get best results in a communication is to use the word I instead of you. Instead of me, once you say to a person you, they become defensive. But when I say, I feel lonely when you come home late, or I feel helpless with the little money when I'm in a supermarket, I'm not like putting the blame, taking the sword on my spouse. So we can use the word I, we can use the word a sandwich talk, or we can say to our spouse, for example, when I'm communicating with my spouse and I want best results, I can choose actually maybe to say I have a problem. You know, once you say to a person I have a problem, you've got their attention. So one way to, because you want attention in communication, you want attention and you want results.
That's right.
So one good way to say is to one spouse, I have a problem, instead of saying to the spouse, you have a problem. So tact, skill, diplomacy when we speak is very critical.
Very, very critical. And also, you should never assume your partner knows what you are thinking or feeling. Don't assume
and most
they
of the
know,
time.
but talk about it. Tell them. Let them know. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I want to say. Know it. Let them hear what you are feeling and what you are thinking. Let them hear. And to the other spouse also, don't just conclude. You want he's trying or she's trying to say this. No, reiterate what if they say something, restate it again and say, are you trying to say?
Indeed.
Yeah, so that you know that I've really understood what they are saying.
Yeah.
And when we do that, our discussion will be good. Maybe let me also confess. I want to confess that I was so poor with the issue regarding communication. It was very difficult for me to communicate with my wife, especially. We are talking about something before we finish. I'm shut off already. I think I was not able to manage my anger. So as a result, discussions or communication could not go on properly. We ended up now and again, leaving the issues half discussed, or should I say half baked? Yeah, for some time. But later on in life, I realized that the only way to deal with issues is to allow anger to creep in, because when you are angry and you are discussing about something, then you cannot listen and you cannot pay attention. Yeah.
I'm very grateful. Thank you for saying that. This has brought so much beauty and joy to me and to our marriage, that we have overcome this hurdle when it comes to communication. And thank you for saying it for the viewers, because some people, they look at their marriage and they think in communication they are hopeless, maybe when each one of us is still dealing with a certain area. And I want to thank God that we've made it very easy for us as a couple to communicate. It makes me see how powerful a man is to a relationship institution. We are both important and powerful. But if men who are viewing could be like you, to be able to maybe deal with the anger management, to be able to cool off and create a conducive atmosphere for communication, it will bring such beauty to a marriage. We've been married 24 years now, and one of the things that beautifies our marriage is our communication and the communicative skills. I've also had to learn And like he was confessing to say, sometimes I would catch my husband when he is not in the best of moods. Maybe he's watching his favorite movie, maybe he's tired, maybe he has had a very busy day. So I've also had to learn when I need to communicate with my husband, to make sure he's not hungry. A hungry man is an angry man. To make sure he's not tired, so that I get maximum attention. To make sure he's not distracted. I've also, one thing that has also helped our marriage in communication is I've taught myself that when when our tempers are like flaring, I've taught to myself to retreat until we are ready to come back to the communicative table again. But I must thank you very much. You're a great communicator and a great husband.
Thank you. And maybe let me finish by saying, always be calm and avoid shouting when you're communicating. Give your spouse a chance to speak. Don't just speak and speak and speak and not give them time to also speak. Because remember, communication is both ways. And lastly, learn to listen well to the words of your partner. That is very essential in any relationship or in communication. Without that, you cannot make it. Enjoy your marriage.
Enjoy your marriage.